Get out. You're ugly." Anna, my granddaughter, was invited to the wedding of her high school friend. However, what awaited her were cruel words she could never have imagined. The one who hurt Anna the most was the groom, Kyle. He had sent Anna an invitation with a friendly face, but in reality, he was also her ex-boyfriend. Moreover, he was the one who selfishly abandoned her. Seeing Anna's tear-stained face, I picked up the phone and called his father, the president of the large Newton Corporation. "Sell all $30 million worth of shares. No matter who it is, I will never forgive anyone who hurts Anna, my one and only family and irreplaceable treasure." My anger reached its peak, and the story of revenge began. My name is Matthew, and I am 65 years old. A few years ago, after retiring from work, I moved from the city to the countryside, where I live a quiet life doing farm work with one other person. But it is not my wife or child I live with, and it is my granddaughter. This year, my granddaughter Anna turned 22. She is the only family I have left. I got married and had a child when I was 22, the same age as Anna now. My wife's name was Rachel, and she was the same age as me. We were both still university students at the time, and Rachel was a well-bred young lady from a good family. There was no way they would have approved of her dating a guy from an ordinary family like me, so we practically eloped, going against her parents' wishes to get married. Fortunately, as if blessing our thorny path, we soon had a daughter named Samantha. Although her parents never accepted us, the birth of Samantha made me believe that God was on our side. However, our happy life did not last long. The year Samantha entered middle school, Rachel suddenly fell ill and passed away. It was a sudden and shocking blow for both me and Samantha. Rachel's parents offered to take in Samantha and raise her, but Samantha herself firmly refused. "I want to live with my dad. I'm already in middle school, so I can decide how I want to live." Hearing those determined words from my daughter, whom I still saw as a child, brought me to tears. "Let's live together then." I will never forget the moment I hugged Samantha tightly, unable to hold back my overflowing tears. But fate was merciless, and it tested me once more. It was when Samantha was about to turn 22 and decide whether to move out on her own. "Dad, please don't get mad when you hear this. I'm actually pregnant, but I can't tell you who the father is, and I'm going to have this baby." Shocked by her sudden confession, I took a moment to think. Having a child should be something to celebrate, right? Samantha had endured hardships from a young age and was a strong-willed girl, so I believed she could handle being a single mother. What I needed to do was not worry, but support her positively. And so, Samantha safely gave birth to a baby girl. Anna had translucent white skin and a face that looked almost non-Japanese, even as a baby. Perhaps the father was a foreigner. That means he might not even be in Japan anymore. This child would probably grow up without ever seeing her father's face. With mixed feelings, I celebrated the birth of this new life. Perhaps because she inherited her father's genes strongly, Anna was noticeably taller and looked different from other kids her age, even from a distance. Because of that, she was teased by other children from a young age. Convinced that she was ugly, Anna wore oversized glasses that almost covered her face, even though her eyesight was fine, and kept her hair short. When going to school, she would wear sweatpants instead of a skirt, and since she was tall, she was sometimes mistaken for a boy. The truth was, she wanted to wear girly clothes, but she was too scared of being compared to the other girls. After all, when we went out as a family, she would dress up in handmade dresses that Samantha had sewn for her, showing that she did want to look nice. I feel so sorry for Anna. I'm such a terrible mother. Samantha would always lament when she saw how constrained Anna seemed in her life. Despite all that, in her first year of high school, Anna got her first boyfriend. His name was Kyle, the captain of the soccer team, popular with both boys and girls. To top it off, his father was the president of a large corporation, so he was a so-called rich kid. Hearing that he was highly sought after by the girls at school made me feel a bit uneasy, but I was relieved that someone finally appreciated Anna's good qualities. Kyle treats me just like any other girl. He even told me that my height makes me look like a model. Anna began to smile more often, and she even started wearing skirts to school, something she used to avoid. However, that happiness did not last long, and their relationship ended after about 6 months. Kyle said he found someone else he likes. I guess I wasn't really his type. Apparently, he was the one who abruptly wanted to break up, and Anna was left feeling down for a while. But high school heartbreaks are common. She was not the type to hold a grudge, and with encouragement from me and Samantha, she soon regained her usual spirit. However, just after recovering from that heartbreak, the second tragic event in her life occurred. Samantha passed away in a car accident. Losing her beloved mother so suddenly left Anna overwhelmed with grief, and she could no longer bring herself to go to high school. Even when she tried attending classes, memories of Samantha would suddenly flood back, and she would break down in tears, leaving her emotionally unstable. At that time, Kyle came to visit Anna to check on her, but to my surprise, he brought his new girlfriend along. I thought to myself, he should have come alone. But Anna, still fond of Kyle, smiled just because he showed up. "Anna, please come back to school. Everyone's worried about you. I'm worried too as a friend." It was astonishing to hear him call himself a friend now. Moreover, it later became clear that Kyle's words about being worried were not genuine, but merely a way to boost his reputation with the teachers. That became apparent when Anna finally returned to school after a long absence. She left in the morning, but came back within an hour. "Did you forget something?" Anna, with tears streaming down her face, said, "Kyle's girlfriend told me to go home. She said it was all a lie, that they never saw me as a friend, and that they just found it bothersome to pretend, so they didn't want me coming back. That was the final straw, and I decided to move with Anna from the city to the countryside." Having just retired after many years of work and receiving an unexpected windfall, I decided to buy a house in a rural area. Moving to the countryside seemed to have a refreshing effect on Anna. At first, I was worried that Anna's distinct, non-Japanese appearance would make her stand out and draw unwanted attention. However, the place we moved to was a town that encouraged newcomers from cities and other regions, so there were many people from different backgrounds. In fact, most people were welcoming and accepting. For several years, I lived with Anna, engaging with nature and the local community while helping with town revitalization projects. Then one day, an invitation to Kyle's wedding arrived. Just when Anna's heart had healed and she had regained her brightness. After everything that had happened, I thought Kyle was incredibly insensitive to invite Anna to his wedding, but as a wealthy young man, he probably just wanted as many acquaintances as possible to attend. I thought there was no way Anna would want to attend after being hurt so badly. But to my surprise, she declared that she would go. "I'm done running away. Since coming here, I've gained confidence. Lately, my mom has even appeared in my dreams, encouraging me. I'm not ashamed to stand in front of anyone." Indeed, Anna had grown into a remarkably beautiful young woman. However, she still had not taken off those large glasses, and that remained a bit of a concern. I was worried, so I decided to accompany Anna to Tokyo. I planned to drop her off at the wedding venue and kill time until it was over, but Anna came back to me almost immediately, crying. "They told me to go home because I'm ugly," Anna muttered, tears welling up behind her large glasses. Seeing Anna crying like a child made a surge of anger well up inside me. "Wait, are you telling me that Kyle said that to you after inviting you to the wedding? What a horrible guy." It wasn't directly from him, but I just happened to overhear him talking with some of our old classmates. According to Anna, this is how the conversation went. "Hey, I just saw Anna at the entrance. Did you really invite her, Kyle?" "Well, she's a friend, you know. I sent invitations to all my high school friends as a formality, but since she moved away, I didn't think she'd actually come. So, she misunderstood a polite gesture and actually showed up?" "Huh. Anna's always been a bit delusional, hasn't she? Back in high school, she even convinced herself that she was your girlfriend. What a pathetic girl. Honestly, It's like saying, "Get out, ugly." Right, Kyle? Yeah. Hearing that, Anna couldn't take it anymore and ran out of the venue. I guess I've been fooling myself all this time. Kyle never really liked me, but I still liked him, and I wanted him to be happy. That's why I wanted to attend the wedding and give him my blessing. I struggled to keep my anger from showing and spoke to Anna with a forced smile. "Don't cry anymore, Anna. I'll make sure you get the justice you deserve." Anna stopped crying and looked at me with a worried expression. I pulled out my phone and made a call. It was the direct line to the president of Newton Corporation, the groom's father. Since the president was busy with the wedding, his secretary, Sarah, answered instead. "Hello, I would like to sell all the Newton Corporation shares I own." My sudden declaration clearly took the secretary by surprise. "Excuse me, what are you talking about?" "Sell all $30 million worth of shares." I pressed on, as if stepping on the gas pedal, and then ended the call. Anna, still looking uneasy, asked me, "Who did you just call? And what do you mean by $30 million worth of shares?" "Well, Anna, there's something I've kept from you." "Kept from me?" "Yes, it's about your father." Anna took off her glasses, her wide eyes staring at me in disbelief. "Grandpa, do you know who my father is?" "After Samantha passed away, I was contacted by someone claiming to be your father's representative." "My father? What kind of person is he?" Among Anna's facial features, her prominently high nose and grayish eyes stood out. I had always sensed a subtle, noble aura hidden within her. And finally, I understood why Samantha had to carry the truth to her grave. "Your father, Anna, is from a noble family in a certain Middle Eastern country. He runs a major oil development company, and he is a billionaire." It might sound unbelievable, but you have an air of elegance that's far beyond anything I could pass down. Maybe that's why people never understood you. "What are you talking about?" "Me, the daughter of a billionaire." "That's impossible. I'm ugly." Even Kyle didn't want me. It was on a completely different level, something they couldn't comprehend. No matter how amazing something is, if people don't understand it, they fear it and reject it. Everyone was unconsciously afraid of your true self and ended up treating you cruelly without even realizing it. Back then, Anna's father had been fascinated by Japanese culture and came to Japan as a student. He belonged to a social class where he could live comfortably without ever leaving his palace like home on vast land. However, it seemed he wanted to go out and learn about different cultures. It was during that journey that he met Samantha, and they fell in love. Samantha, influenced by her mother Rachel, who was raised as a well-bred young lady and had lived abroad during her childhood. It was nothing short of fate that the two of them, who both wanted to understand foreign languages and cultures, met and fell in love. However, marriage between them was absolutely forbidden. Even though my relationship with Rachel was never acknowledged, their gap was far more insurmountable. In the end, Samantha had no choice but to give up on a life with him. "Dad, there's a new life growing inside me." I recalled Samantha's words and the look on her face when she told me. And I remembered the determination I felt to protect both of them with my life. I will never forgive anyone who hurts Anna. "Your father transferred me a huge amount of shares from Newton Corporation, which is heavily involved in the oil business. I never imagined it would connect to this situation like this. Kyle should have chosen Anna, no doubt about it. But he defied fate. No way. I put my hand on Anna's shoulder as she looked down. By now, Kyle's father must have been informed, and it's probably causing chaos. You've faced enough, Anna, even through the pain. From here on, I will take over. I will teach them what it means to go against fate." Leaving Anna, who was too shocked to speak, I headed to the wedding venue. The news of the share sale seemed to have reached them quickly, and as expected, the wedding was in utter chaos. This marriage was originally a political one. Although the bride's father was a wealthy businessperson running a major corporation, the company's finances had been steadily declining due to global economic shifts. To stabilize his company, he wanted to marry his daughter into the Newton family. Thinking about it that way, I suppose Kyle wasn't entirely free in his choices either. When I quietly pushed open the door and entered the venue, I could feel the tension in the air. The groom's father, Mr. Newton, had abruptly left the ceremony upon hearing about the company's crisis, leaving the guests bewildered. The host, at a loss for words, had completely lost control of the event. I walked up to Kyle, who was sitting in his elegant attire, looking confused. Noticing me, he called out, "Anna's grandfather." Everyone in the room turned their eyes toward me. I could feel the heat from hundreds of stares. Just being watched by so many people affects a person. It made me think of how Anna had endured such looks, being treated as something unusual. I wanted to find the people who had insulted Anna, but I didn't even know their faces. I wanted to see what kind of people had called Anna ugly, but for now, I had to speak to Kyle. "Anna, she's here, right?" Kyle glanced behind me, looking for Anna. Even at this point, he still had the audacity to mention her name. Suppressing the anger welling up inside, I forced a smile. "Anna is waiting outside. She really wanted to come and give you her blessing. But unfortunately, it seems she was told to go home. She's pretty upset. Even a polite, 'Thank you for coming' would have been nice." Kyle's face turned pale. "No, it's not like that, sir. I was. It's unpleasant." I kept my forced smile, but I might have appeared more intimidating than intended. At that moment, the bride's father, Mr. Underwood, the president of Underwood Financial Group, spoke up. "Excuse me, but what is your relationship with Mr. Newton?" "It's a bit complicated, but I can say that I used to own about $30 million worth of Newton Corporation shares. Actually, I just requested to sell them." Immediately, Mr. Underwood's face turned ashen. "What did you just say? Selling $30 million worth of shares? I haven't heard anything about that." "Well, it just happened a moment ago. Otherwise, Mr. Newton wouldn't have abruptly left his own son's wedding." The bride and groom stood frozen, completely clueless about what was happening. I stood in front of them, flashing a broad smile. "Congratulations on your marriage. But remember, marriage isn't always full of happiness. You may face many hardships ahead. Yet, if you have love, you can overcome any obstacle. I truly wish you both a bright future." However, Mr. Underwood immediately interrupted. "No, this marriage needs to be put on hold. More importantly, with the groom's father having left, we can't proceed. I deeply apologize to all the guests, but we will end the ceremony here." I shot him a sharp glare. There must have been a lot of resentment in my gaze. He froze like a deer caught in the headlights, standing there in stunned silence. Marriage should be a matter between the two people involved. Family and status, those things should follow afterward. What's the point of happiness if it isn't about promising eternal love to the one you truly care about? Then I turned my gaze to Kyle, who was standing there, stunned as if struck by lightning. "Anna truly loved you from the bottom of her heart. Yet, you acted so half-heartedly. It would have been better if you had completely cut ties with her rather than inviting her to your wedding. Did you just want to hurt her that badly?" "That's not," Kyle muttered, lowering his head. Seeing him trying to escape the situation, I was about to press him further, when suddenly, "Stop it, Grandpa." Anna came running toward us, her face filled with desperation. I was hurt, yes, but it wasn't Kyle's fault. I was hurt because I was weak. That's all. There were no glasses on Anna's face. The entire venue stirred at the sight of the beautiful woman who had suddenly appeared. With flawless makeup and dressed in the outfit that Samantha had painstakingly crafted, Anna was, without a doubt, the most beautiful person in the room. "You've been called terrible things for so long. You should turn those words back on them. If you called those ugly people ugly, no one could argue. That's how absolutely beautiful you are, Anna." I tried to compliment her as best I could, but tears began to stream from Anna's troubled eyes. "What's wrong, Anna?" She shook her head, still crying. "I don't want that. If I call someone ugly, I feel like something precious inside me will break. If that happens, I don't think I'll ever be happy." The ugliness of calling someone else ugly, her words snapped me back to reality. "Grandpa, let's go home. We need to water the vegetables in the garden. And if possible, I'd like you to cancel the stock sale. I don't think my mom would have wanted this. All I could do in response to Anna's plea was hang my head. Yeah, Samantha wouldn't have wanted it. She was a kind-hearted girl. As memories of Samantha and Rachel surfaced in my mind, I felt a pang of guilt. They were both gentle and wonderful women, but Anna, I'm really sorry for hurting you. Suddenly, Kyle's voice rang out across the hall. Both Anna and I turned to look at him. Kyle stood up from his seat and rushed toward Anna. I know it's only fair for you to hate me. I don't hate you at all. That's right, you're the kindest person I know. I've always liked you, Anna. I know it's too late to say that now, but… Anna smiled gently, just as she always did. Even if he confessed his feelings now, it wouldn't make her happy. I wanted to call Kyle out for being so selfish, but I hesitated to interrupt, because I thought I heard Samantha's voice. He's telling the truth. I looked around in surprise, but of course, Samantha wasn't there. No, let me be honest. I don't want to be a coward anymore. I still love you, Anna. I think I always will, no matter who I marry. That feeling won't change. What on earth is Kyle saying? If he says something like that, even if I stop the stock sale, the marriage will be ruined. He just confessed his love for another woman right in front of his bride. Thank you, that makes me happy. It's the happiest I felt in my life. But… Anna took a deep breath as if bracing herself. I believe that even happier moments are still ahead of me, and I truly hope that you can live freely, too, Kyle. With that, we left the venue. In the end, I reconsidered the stock sale and decided to transfer half of it to Anna. It was still an enormous amount, but Anna didn't seem to care much about stocks and remained nonchalant. Meanwhile, Kyle's wedding plans were called off. In the past, personal feelings wouldn't have mattered, and a marriage for the sake of the company would have gone through. But those days are over. A marriage without mutual feelings shouldn't happen. I believe that a union without love should not be forced. I later heard that Kyle had decided to refuse his inheritance of the family business. It turned out that Kyle was never really interested in running the company, and he just wanted to dedicate himself to his beloved soccer. Kyle always loved soccer more than anything. When we were dating, he would always say he'd rather be kicking a ball than studying. I see, but I also understand his parents' desire for him to take over the business. Still, I think Kyle is more responsible than I thought. Otherwise, he wouldn't have had the courage to speak his true feelings in front of everyone like that. I remembered the determined look on Kyle's face when he confessed his feelings for Anna. In the end, responsibility means being honest with yourself. Kyle chose not to take over the company, staying true to his own feelings. I couldn't help but feel a bit curious about how he would live his life from now on. Afterward, Anna married a humble man she met in the town where we lived and gave birth to a daughter. When I held the baby, my great-grandchild, I was so happy that I couldn't hold back my tears. The baby, named Natalie, had fair skin like Anna, but her face resembled mine. Well, I didn't really see the resemblance myself, but since everyone said she looked like me, I decided to believe it. I've gotten old, and my back aches, making farm work tough at times. But seeing Natalie toddling around gives me enough energy to feel like I could live another 100 years. Okay, maybe not 100, that might be too much. But at least, I hope to stay healthy until Natalie can clearly call me Grandpa. These days, that's my biggest wish.